Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Superhuman Entrepreneur. I get to be back with all of you today. That is always a blessing, always a perk. Today, I am bringing on a world changer of sorts, a man who caught my eye really randomly, actually. I'm in the online space, as you guys know, virtually, and I take care of health participants, and then we also teach doctors online. And I came across this guy's site because he knew a couple of my friends, and I just randomly clicked on his site. And what caught my eye was first the video and how he showed up in the video. Because I look at that, I put a lot of value in that. People who show up with genuine joy in life. Have you ever met that kind of person before out there? You're probably saying, yeah, I have. I've met that kind of person. And that may be what drew you into your passion. Well, I watched some of Keith's videos, and I was just astounded by who he was. And I was thinking in that moment, I need to introduce this guy to my tribe, my clan, which are you guys out there. And so he finally agreed after, a year of pursuing him. No, it wasn't a year, but it was months to where I could finally get him on. His name's Keith Yackey. And I think you guys are going to love some of the areas that we go in this segment. But after building an 8-figure investing firm in the first 2 years, he went on to teach thousands of other investors on the biggest stage in the country how to do the same. He then started an online education company teaching people how to raise money for real estate deals. One of the cool things is he talks about success without joy is failure. So with that in mind, he shares and serves others to truly bring the joy in their personal and professional lives. So without further ado, I introduce to you Keith Yackey. Keith, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh man, such an honor and such a blessing to be here with you guys, and you specifically. So I'm excited to dive in and have some fun.
Appreciate it, man. Right before we hit record, we were talking a little bit about, your journey, and we're going to go there because I think it's important for all of us when we go into this world, into this culture, and we see highlight reels of everybody, and we forget what it took to actually get there. And I think that's one of the elements that makes you so amazing at relating with people and helping people to understand that their story, whether it's a highlight, whether it's down in the dumps, going to the heights again, is so important to own it and to live it and to be transparent with it. So I want to go there with you. But before that, just give us a little bit about who you are, how you show up in the world, and why you do what you do.
Yeah, so I want to actually just add a tag to what you just said before. Like, you talk about how people who are relatable, they share their story, they share the dumps, they share the highs, they share the lows. I don't know about you, Matt, but for me, like, when I see a movie star or a hit rock star, like if you were to show me anything behind the scenes of Mumford and Sons, I would be glued. Nothing would get in my way. I'd want to watch that, right? And so I think what happens is whenever we see anybody do something really cool or that is cool in our opinion, we want to know, are they really human? Like, did they go through struggle, or did they just get born right out of the womb like a superstar? And we know that they didn't, but we still want to see the proof, right?
Absolutely.
So I've always found that those superstars, rock stars, celebrities, whatever it is that we hold high in our, in my esteem, I always want to know, well, how did they get there? What was their day like? What made them think they could actually accomplish that? Who told them they couldn't? So I've always liked the behind the scenes stuff. So I think that when I came into the online world, I always wanted just to share, hey man, I was super discouraged. Like, even with all the cool stuff we do today and the great online companies we have and the investments we make and all that other stuff, dude, this week has been really hard for me. Even this week we're talking right now, because I hired 3 new sales guys, which means I had to get up at 5 a.m. every morning to make sure that all the leads were set out and make sure everybody knew what they were doing. And I don't necessarily like getting up that early. Just this week, I'm thinking, oh shit, like my world just became really encumbered with a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily want to do, but I know I have to do it to continue to keep doing the things that I want to grow into. So anyway, I just find it, I just was triggered by what you just said, because truth of the matter is we see you or, Isaac and all these guys doing these cool things, but we're like, all right, man, what's it like at 6 in the morning when you don't want to get out of bed and you do, and yet you're doing I just rambled
That's
for
real.
2 seconds, but
That's real talk.
to me, that makes someone go, God, I can get down with what that person's talking about because they're just like me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's funny.
That's what
I love that you're bringing that up because, without revealing too much about this project that I'm working on, I'm looking at the Clark Kents of the world instead of the superhuman, right? Because Superman in all his greatness is Clark Kent, and I think that's the greatness behind, most every superhero. There's flesh behind the suit. And I think that's so important for us to be transparent, especially as men, because as men, we want to walk around and show like we got it all together. We got the car, we got the stuff, and at the end of the day, I mean, if you talk to any mentor that's over, 50 years old, they're in this season of life where they're in this king season where they figured out that none of that stuff matters at all. But it's almost like you got to go through that night season of plundering and conquering. And I would rather get my perspective early on as to truly what I'm setting my sights on than to get it later on. And so that's why I think it's important to have mentors and all that stuff too. But at the end of the day, it's being transparent with your brother side by side and saying, man, this is what I dealt with. Like this morning, I almost killed one of my children. I had a nervous breakdown and it was the first hour of the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
And the other thing I found is whenever you're doing something really cool, it doesn't necessarily feel that cool in the moment. It's always cooler when you look back. So even in the intro, when you say, the guy built an 8-figure investment company, it wasn't like I was hanging out on yachts every day with my feet up on the desk. It felt like work, and we were working and grinding, and my partner was bringing in deals and I was having to fund them. And so all the stress and anxiety of, oh my gosh, I've got to raise, $3.5 million this month to be able to fund the deals. And that's my side of the business. And I'm like, I'm glad you brought in the deals, but now that I've got to go to work. And so none of it felt like, oh my God, one day somebody's going to be thinking I'm so cool for doing this. It's like, I got a job to do right now.
Yep.
And so I think that sometimes because we can hear wow, the guy has a multi-7-figure business. And in a snapshot, we think he decided to have it and then he had it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't realize that when I first learned how to come online, this was just 4 years ago, my office door was shut and all my fiance could hear is, F this, and why can't they make this easier and I'm cursing the walls at how hard it is to make a website to do what I wanted to do. And I'm like, why? All I want to do is this. Why wouldn't they just do this? Like, this is not rocket science. Not like rocket science. And yet everyone's like, wow, that's amazing you did that. I'm like, it was not easy, man. I hated every second of it. But I had a bigger why, which is kind of like you said, why am I showing up? I'll tell you, this is the reason why I show up. My mom passed away a little over 10 years ago from cancer. So I was 28 years old and I realized I hadn't even come close to reaching my potential and that there was things that were holding me back, namely fear of really just putting myself out there and really trying something and really going after it and seeing what I could accomplish if I pushed my limits. So it took me staring at her right before she died and realized that she had regret in her eyes. I mean, and she told me, she didn't become the person she really wanted to become. She didn't go do the things she wanted to do. She settled for things in life that she shouldn't have settled for. And that was really the impetus for me to be like, oh, dude, I can't let that happen. I can't go out of here without giving it my all. And so that's what led me down a lot of the paths for one simple reason. I didn't want to die with regrets. And it's still a driving factor for me to this day. When all the shit gets really hard, when I'm like waking up, I'm like, oh, I know I got to go do these 3 things that I don't really even want to do. And I probably should hire a manager to do this anyway. But at this point, I've got to do it. I'm like, but you have a potential. I'm trying to always push that potential. And I don't want to die and be like, God, I could have accomplished so much more, not just so I could have another cool plaque on my shelf, but because inside I knew I could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
And inside, I knew that I was actually supposed to do it. And I was being pulled forward by a higher being, a more infinite intelligence saying, I've got something better for you to help others. And yet you decided to full on get drunk yesterday.
Mm.
So therefore you're sleeping in, and therefore you're not as sharp as you should be, which we all struggle with, man.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is last Saturday night, me and a bunch of my friends were in San Diego and we partied our you-know-whats off. And I wasn't that great. I wasn't the great Keith Yackey that I want to be on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I know not to make those decisions, but sometimes when your buddy Dan Martell's sitting there and his wife and your wife and all your other friends and Pete Vargas are there, you're like, let's have a drink.
Too tempting.
And so I guess what people forget, and the reason why I show up and the reason why I really wanted to do this call with you was you can see the highlight reel, but know that the highlight reel, it's not like I don't even think there's a season like, oh man, 4 months ago that was a bad season. But no, that's okay. This next 6 months is amazing. I think it's like Saturday day was amazing. Saturday night felt great because we got drunk. Sunday, I felt like shit. And so it was like peak valley, boom, 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 right next to each other.
Yep.
And then Monday, when I had a couple of calls that didn't go my direction, I was like, oh, dang, I've got to retweak my process because that's breaking right there.
Yep.
And that felt like a valley. But then now Tuesday, I'm on a call with you, and I've had an amazing morning already. So now I'm on. You follow what I'm saying?
100%. 100%.
Like day to day.
It is. So so let's go there because that's powerful because we all deal with that. Not one person in the world doesn't deal with that. And you're exactly right. It does stack up against. It's not like you have sometimes it's like this, but sometimes it is. It's like those challenges are stacked up against you and they're boom, 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 like consecutively. So you wake up after, a night of knowing, man, I probably maybe shouldn't have done those things. What are you thinking? Like what's driving you back into the focused Keith Yackey, the superhuman Keith Yackey that's going to accomplish his vision and his mission and isn't going to let anything get in his way?
Specifically Saturday night, we were out till about maybe 1, and I realized I actually had client calls at 7:30 the next morning. I was the only one up, man. And I knew I had people to serve at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and 8:30. And I actually, the reason I felt so bad is because I don't feel like I was my best version of me showing up to serve those people at that time. Mm-hmm. And so that was what really snapped me into reality. Like, hey, Keith, man, you and I've already been going down this road of like, because listen, I'm a guy who likes to have fun. If you're having a Super Bowl party, I want to be there. You know what I mean? If you're having wings, pizza, and beer, like I'm one in, man. You know what I mean? But I realized it really has been the last couple of months that my health and my mindset is the most precious thing I actually have. Mm-hmm. And so, have you ever seen that? And I'm sure all the listeners listen. Have you guys ever seen that Snickers commercial where the guy's acting like a total crazy diva, and then they hand him a Snickers bar, and they say, "You're not yourself when you're hungry." Have you seen that commercial?
Yes, I have. Yes.
So that's how I feel when I don't get enough sleep, or if I've eaten bad and just eaten sugary foods or whatever. Which I try and I've recently lost 40 pounds, so I went from 240 down to 200, 180s. 180 is when I get mistaken for a supermodel, right? Like that's my supermodel zone. But so right now, I'm around 200, and sometimes because you want to celebrate, oh, I've lost 40 pounds, you want to make, oh, I want to go have that pizza and I want to go have that beer with my friends. But then it triggers something in my mind of going, I get so crazy, and I go, Keith, like, dude, your positivity, your mind, like your way of showing up to the world is really your superpower. Mm-hmm. And my kryptonite is that bad food.
Yeah.
And it really affects me. So for me, I'm realizing how hypersensitive I am to that. And so I'm like really vigilant to be like, okay, I got to stay away from that. Yeah. So I don't know if that answered the question, but that really has woken me up a lot lately.
It does. And I love how this is so organic because it's flowing into certain things that I think a lot of people need to hear. So let's go with the thing with the food thing, because I think that all of us have the food thing, whatever, if it might not be food, but it's something that we're drawn to. It's our kryptonite.
Yep.
And, for instance, one of the things for me is I really enjoy like sweets. I really like, so it's a food thing, but that's something that I've learned to control, and over time, create a habit for it. But man, I love pistachio ice cream. Like, I think ice cream is quite possibly the greatest thing on the planet, and I would eat it every day of my life.
Right.
So how do you combat that, Keith, when you find, because, we know our bodies get under stress, we find ourselves in a weak situation, and it starts to get drawn to those things that are going to make us feel good. And so how do you stop yourself in your tracks? We all mess up, but how do you stop yourself in your tracks and say, hey, like, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to do something else. And if you do something else, what do you do?
Okay, so this was the one area that I told you this is why I didn't want to do your show.
Yep.
Because I know, like, you and Isaac, you guys all, I mean, literally your business cards are you guys with, with your 6-pack abs. I Google Isaac, I'm like, dude, you're half naked all over.
You're right.
What is this? What's this all about? So, I haven't always made the best choices. And recently and lately, I have made a lot better choices. And my physicality, it has become way better than it was just 6 months ago. But I'll tell you, even though I don't have all 6 of my abs showing right now, I only have 2. I can tell you this. It's not, for me, it's not even actually having the abs. It's about my mind. It's about my mind. Like, I am so acutely aware that I am a different human being. It's that, like, when I'm about ready to go eat something bad, I go, you remember that pit in your stomach that makes you, like, it makes me feel when I eat bad, this is not the person you're talking to right now. Like, right now, I'm confident I can take on anything. I'll do a sales call later today, and I know I'm going to close it. Yeah. I know I'm going to go, I know I'm going to go crush my workout. I know I'm going to do these things. If I eat bad, this is for me. And I didn't realize this until recently, that my confidence and my view of who I am and what I can accomplish goes away. So, like, I will literally wake up. So 2 weeks ago, we went to Hollywood, and it happens on the weekends for me. During the week, when I'm in go mode, you couldn't get me to eat a piece of chocolate if you gave me money to do it. Are you
completely strict during your week? You don't actually take any sweet.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's the best way to go, because maybe, but I have found myself on the weekends kind of going off the rail. But so 2 weekends ago, we go to Hollywood. My fiance and I, we're going to go party. We're going to go to all our favorite restaurants. We're going to go see all of our favorite comedians at the Comedy Store. We're like, it's our getaway. And I definitely indulged. I haven't indulged like that in months. And it took me almost 3 days to get back to me. And people go, what do you mean by me? Well, me normally, I'm super confident. I've got a lot of vision for what we can accomplish. I know what we can go do, and I know exactly the process of how we're going to go get it. And there's a real amount of certainty in my voice when I say it. After a couple of days of going crazy, I'm like, I don't know, man. Can we do? And in my head, I'm thinking, I don't think we can pull this off. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. Like, I've seen other really, really successful entrepreneurs just totally, run the ship into the ground. Is that going to be me? You know what I mean? So I get all this doubt, all this craziness. So I'm such a different human being, so that now I go, you know what? I don't want to wake up with doubt. I want to wake up ready to, because I never really set an alarm. I always typically tend to wake up before. I don't know know what that is, but I don't, and I'm not even really like, I'm going to set an intention, vision board kind of guy, but I'll be like, I got to get up at a certain time. And for whatever reason, I typically wake up, within 10 or 15 minutes before that. Yeah. And so on the days I'm doing good, I can't wait. Like, I'm trying to be quiet because I don't want to wake up my fiance, but dude, I'm like a bull in China class. I'm ready to roll. Yeah. On days I've been eating bad, I want to go back to bed. Yeah. I don't want to get in. I'll turn the alarm off just so it doesn't wake me up. And so I just know that I've become such a different human being. And I don't like the human being that's timid and afraid and cautious. And I don't want to be that person. And I know the one thing that makes me that person is eating bad food. Yeah. A lot of people because I have a program that I help people discover their calling without taking any unnecessary risk. And my very first module is, if you're not showing up as the best you're never going to be able to do the thing that you're called to do. and we get really clear, like, you may not want abs, and that's fine. We don't all care about abs or pecs or biceps or whatever. But if you want to be a Goliath and an absolute superhuman on the things that you accomplish in this world and in your mind, you have got to get that shit out of your life, out of all the way. So that's what stops me, is I realize I become a very weak, timid version of who I am on those drugs.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And specifically drugs. I love marijuana.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally legal here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And oh my God, dude, give me a cap full of some edibles and let me watch a UFC fight, and I'm the happiest human being on the planet until the next day.
I was gonna say, yep.
And so here's what I realized, and this was a big realization for me over the last month or two, to where I've actually stopped partaking of edibles and THC and that type of thing. Is my question is, Keith, do you want to be happy or do you want to be happier? And that's the question I've asked myself. Okay, so yes, getting high makes me super happy. Duh. That's the reason for alcohol and marijuana and pizza, right?
Yeah.
Or do I want to be happier when I can fit into the pants that I wanted to fit into a while ago? Or when you've never found a human more happy than when he hits his goal that he's had to work his ass off for.
Amen.
Go watch the end of the Super Bowl and see how happy those Eagles were.
Yeah.
Because they'd worked their ass off.
Awesome? Wasn't that awesome to see
fantastic.
that?
It was fantastic.
I would encourage anybody out there, if you didn't see that game, just go on YouTube and, type in the end of the game, because the faces of the players, the crying, that was their first Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Crazy. But I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Happy or happier. And I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's like, for me,
good.
And so even right now, even challenges in my businesses now, which every business has them, whether you're crushed, even businesses that are crushing it still have challenges. Anytime you're trying to push beyond the envelope, you're going to have challenges.
Yep.
I just say, Keith, you could be happy right now and just abandon that project and just stick with what you're doing. But God, you're going to be so much happier when you see that hard thing accomplished.
Yep. Yep. Man, and I resonate a lot with that, Keith. Thank you, by the way, for going there and just letting that flow, because I was asked the other day, why do you work out? Because I was talking with a lot of people that were just like, I work out to, get the bigger muscles and have the aesthetics. And I was talking to a guy and I said, I was like that, and early on when I first started working out really hard, I was running a clinic in Nashville full time. I was working an insane amount of hours, and I was working out to look good. And I changed my perspective of why I was working out. And the reason that I changed it was because it was starting to become work. It was starting to become, I wasn't enjoying it. And because it was a very surfacey longing that I had. So I made it deeper. And essentially what I came to is that I'm working out because my spirit is stronger than the flesh. See, my flesh wants things, right? The heart wants what it wants. And so if we don't have a line that we draw in the sand, like what you're talking about, if we don't have that line that says, hey, look, do you want to be happy or happier? Are there people on the other side of this line that you have to serve? And by being this person over here, Matt, you're not ever going to be able to serve these people. Yeah. And you're not going to be able to change their life. And they need you. Honestly, people are praying for Keith Yackeys of the world to come out and change their life, Yeah. And so if we really understand that it's not just us, it's millions of people that are depending on you out there listening, on Keith, on me, then we back away from the situation and say, okay, I need to step out of my own comfort thing that I got going on, and I need to make it happen.
Yeah. So, and just even for our home life. So we had mentioned briefly what had, so the biggest thing that changed my life happened on May 27th of last year. And it was, I got dumped. My fiance, who I'd been going out with for 5.5 years,
Wow.
who I have a daughter with, she dumped my ass, and she had every right to. And this was her answer. In short, was you work, you run your business. This was the answer. She goes, you run your business, you come home and talk about your business, and you fall asleep on the couch.
Mm.
So I don't care about all the stuff we have. I wanted you, and this is not the you I wanted. So I'm out here, and you're not stepping in and really being a great dad to our daughter. And we're talking simple things. Like, I didn't do dishes, I wasn't changing diapers, and I wasn't taking Jessie on dates that she wanted to go on. So to me, it comes down to the 3 Ds: dishes, diapers, and dates. And,
That's your next book.
No, seriously, we actually do have something coming out, which is really exciting.
Nice.
But the bottom line is, the love of my life dumped me, had every reason to, because I was not focused on the things that really, really mattered. I had let myself go, and I was having success without joy. The very thing that I didn't want, I was doing. And people say, what's the difference now? I say, well, the air, it's a lot easier to breathe in the air when your head's outside of your ass. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah. And we got back together about 6 weeks later. It was the worst, most hellish 6 weeks of my life. But it really showed me that I need to show up every single day and say, how can I serve them? So it's not even just, there is that aspect of, I want to serve the world, and that's just as important. But what about the 2 people that are under my roof's world too? Like, and my biggest thing was, wow, here I'm having all this commercial success, and yet the people that live under my roof say they don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. And that was a huge awakening. And some people might even just felt right there, like, God, isn't he embarrassed that he just said that? Hell yeah, I was embarrassed. Yeah. It was the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me in my life. That's why it's taken months and months and months. Only 2 or 3 of my friends knew that I went through that, because I was on the phone with them every other day crying, saying, I can't believe that this actually happened. The girl of my dreams, who I actually really love, but I wasn't loving her the way she was. So everybody's out there like, oh my gosh, investor and company builder and online genius, blah, blah, blah. Got dumped. And he deserved it. It's horrible. Wow. So, and you know what? I don't know how many people listen to this. It doesn't really matter. If there's 10 people that listen to this call, there's going to be 1 or 2 people that are like, shit, I totally resonate with that. And they may be on the verge of that very same thing. And I would just encourage them to really ask themselves, so now you won't, it's very rare you see me work past 4:30 or 5. Mm-hmm. Very rare. Mm-hmm. And that means I spend a lot of time playing Barbie dollhouse and going to the park. And you know what? My daughter's going to be a better human being because of it. Absolutely. And I'm a happier, better human being because of it. Yep. So I know that took a left turn, but it's what we all do. Like, let's get real, right? Like, let's get real.
Right. This is what I mean. Before we started this call, like, we both agreed to this, right? We said, well, like, it's time to get real. And it really is, because in the end, you can't go back and get those days. It's over. Your daughter's going to be, our daughter's, 24, 25 years old. Those days are done. You have a window as a dad to accomplish the love and acceptance and compassion that you're going to hand off to your daughter. You have a window, and it's, and I always say it's never too late. Like, if you're a dad out there, like, go and reestablish a relationship with your daughter. It's never too late, but just know that those years are priceless. And then they go into.
And I have 3 other ones, Matt.
You do? I have 3.
I have a 19, 17, and 14-year-old from my first marriage.
So you have 4 daughters.
So I have 2 older sons. Okay. 19 and 17-year-old sons, a daughter, a 14-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old daughter. And in about a couple months, we want to start trying for another one. Yeah.
Congrats, brother.
Yeah. So.
Wow. So, talk to that. Like, I think this is like so huge in our culture today, because, as men showing up for our home, what does that look like for you now? Like, I know it's probably, changed, and you've matured, like you said, in that situation with your fiance. She basically told you, you're not doing this, this, and this. What are you doing now to show up in the way you didn't?
So true, like people actually think I'm kidding about the dishes, diapers, and dates. I do I'm the dishwasher now, and it takes me all of 6 minutes a day. So now I get a lot of pleasure. I just pop on a podcast and I do it. And I know it's that one little thing that she doesn't have to do that is like a way of me showing I'm going to serve her, and she feels served and loved. So I just do simple little things. I don't go and get crazy fancy. I love fresh flowers. So I'll do fresh flowers. Mm-hmm. When I happen to be by Whole Foods or whatever, I stop in, they got the best, they got the best flowers.
They do got the best flowers.
They got all sorts of crazy colors of roses, and my girl loves that. So I'll get that. I'll cut them. I'll put them in the vase. Doesn't take very long. I do the dishes. I'll take paper towels, fold them in half, and cut like a heart out of it, and just write a simple with a Sharpie marker, "Love you," and put a smiley face at the bottom, and I'll pop them up kind of in different spots. Like, we're talking the simplest shit in the world that I wasn't doing. My daughter now is potty trained, but when she wasn't, this was, she just got potty trained like last 3 or 4 months. I would make sure I'd wake up in the middle of the night and change her, or I'd wake up in the middle of the night and give her a bottle. She doesn't do those things now, but here's this a different version of that. We'll be on the couch hanging out, and she goes, "Oh, I got to go potty." And so rather than me make my fiance get up and take her, I'll jump up and take her. Yeah. Super simple, but it's things that I wasn't doing. And recently, my fiance went to visit her mom to do something. She was gone for like 4 days. I never watch TV. It's not something I'm like, oh, I wonder what's on TV. It just never happens. But when my fiance's home, there's some shows she really likes to watch. And so I compromise and I'll watch those shows with her. Now I'm kind of into them. So it's not like I'm just sitting there like, oh, this show's stupid. I can get into a show if we're there. But I realize that those are things that she likes. And if I'm always saying, hey, come do everything I like, that's pretty one way. Yeah. And so I just, I don't particularly enjoy TV, but I will watch a couple of these shows with her just to show her, hey, listen, you go to a lot of business shit with me that maybe you like or don't like, and like you can get into it once you're there. But she doesn't sit around like, I can't wait to go to a business conference. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even though that shit turns me on. So those are some very simple things. I always open her door. I try and plan really unique things. Like for Valentine's Day tomorrow, we're going ATVing up in the desert, in the hills and the mountains. Yeah, like just cool shit. I've taken her machine gun shooting. We went and killed zombies at this really in-live. I'm always trying to think of like what's cool and different. We're both pretty active. So I just think, what would she like? What hasn't she done? Yeah. What could we do more than anything? And I told my kids this, and I don't always live this, but I'm really hypersensitive now, is we make money to make memories.
Yeah.
So how can we go create a cool ass memory together? And then here's the simplest but hardest one is Saturday morning and Sunday morning, I get up with our daughter. And Sunday morning, I get up with her, and and my fiance can go do whatever she wants, like the first half of the day, go get her nails done, go shopping, whatever, to like 1 or 2, where she doesn't have to think about being a mom at all. Yeah. And I just dad it up on Sundays.
I love that, man.
Yeah. So those are simple, like they're not glamorous, they're not rock star, but they're so effective.
That's where it's at. It really is.
Yeah.
Because especially I don't know if you're a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist, and I build this stuff up in my head. Like, it's got to be this grandiose, amazing, like princess palace experience. And you're right. It doesn't. At the end of the day, it's those little things that truly matter, even for our kids. I mean, it's the time. It's it's just like, I always thought, we got to be doing something. One of my little girls totally operates within the realm of just, let's just like sit and like play with mulch for like 10 minutes. And I'm just like, that's not like, no, let's like go and like get your like your little Hot Wheel car and like drive down the road. But she just wants to like chill,
Yeah.
So
I'm really glad you mentioned that. And let's add this. I had to discover and learn, how does my fiance feel loved? Because I'm different. You know what I mean? You caress my inner thigh, and I'm feeling loved right now.
All of us, men.
Yeah,
all
right.
Of us men.
But not every woman feels that way. Like I had to learn that sitting down and watching Vanderpump Rules which is some TV show on Bravo about these Hollywood crazy people. Me sitting down and being like, all right, this is our show, and getting into that shows her just as much love as her, wanting to jump my bones in the morning. Yep. And realizing that people really just do think differently. Yep. And they communicate differently, whereas I'm high touch, and a lot of guys are. She's high something else, and I need to find out, okay, well, I'm going to communicate on her level that way, because that's what really communicates, like, to her, like, wow, this guy is really loving me. Doing the dishes, like, shows her that I'm head over heels in love with her. And I'm just thinking, it's freaking dishes.
Yep. Because the jumping bones part starts with the cutout paper towel heart.
Yeah,
right?
It does.
It starts with the dishes. It starts with the flowers. Like, it starts intimacy. I didn't realize this until I was, I've been married. It'll be 14 years now. I didn't realize this until.
How old are you, dude? You look super young, and then you said you had
55. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. It's longevity, man. This is what our programs, this is what we teach. I'm 35.
Okay.
But I figured this out.
But wait, how do you have a 25-year-old daughter?
No, I don't. No. My daughters are 6, 3, and 18 months.
Oh, I thought you said you had a 24 and 25-year-old daughter. Like, there's just no way. Okay.
We get married in the South real young. No.
Yeah, apparently.
But I figured out early on that intimacy starts, at 7 a.m. when you wake up, and it's those little things that build up, and how much different women look at that act of intimacy. Like, as men, we think brass tacks, sex.
Yeah.
Women are like, no. It's the emotional. Like, how are you triggering me emotionally? It's really funny where this episode's gone. I like it though.
Yeah.
It's important,
Well, the bottom, let me make sure I put a cute little bow on this in case everyone's like, is this relationship talk? When I got my ass dumped, nothing else mattered. No, I was like, I got this great event coming up that's going to have 500 people in it. Who fucking cares? The only one person I wanted to be there is gone. Like, you can't, like, because I messed that up so bad, and now my daughter is in California and she's only coming over on the weekends, and I'm just like, I would have given somebody a really big chunk of money to fix it.
Yeah.
But it was too late. And the reason why it was too late is because I had selective urgency. I became urgent about it only when there was a problem, rather than being urgent about it every single day. That's how people get fat. That's how people get relationships that get. And so I'm going to say this to everybody there. If you feel like your relationship's not going the way it is, there's things that you're not doing. I can promise you that. We all want to change the other person. It's usually not them. It's usually us. Yep. Change yourself, because the bottom line is, I don't care how great your practice is or how many whatevers you're doing or online things you're doing, that if they end up having the balls to get up and leave your ass, which a lot more women should do, you're going to be sitting there wondering, I wish I would have listened to what Matt and Keith were saying back 3 months ago when I heard that podcast, and I was looking for the next strategy on how to convert another customer and make an extra $7,000 that week, as opposed to, holy shit, I would give everything and go live in a full apartment just to have my family back.
Drop the mic.
That's the truth. And that's where I was at, sitting in this office wondering, what the hell is life even about, when the people I really wanted to be around me don't want to be around me anymore. So if anybody was wondering the relevancy of anything we're just talking about, that's the relevancy.
This information is like $100,000 worth of information. Like, let's just be really honest here. More. I mean, that's really chump change. Like, this information creates a better human being, like, not just a business person, not just a better, world changer, like a human being. At the end of the day, we're on this planet to love one another and pick each other up and dust each other off. This information does that. Running a successful business doesn't do that. So, I mean, you're exactly right. This is real talk, and we all need to hear it, and oftentimes you don't get this type of real talk unless you're, allowing yourself to open up to other people. And I know that can be hard. Like you said in the very beginning, Keith, you were like, this is not the easiest topic. Like people judge you and say things about you, and will say, oh, you're supposed to be this successful, whatever. At the end of the day, it's our transparency that allows us to enter into those amazing abundancies in our lives. Every single time, like I can't tell you, man, like every single time I would hit a challenge in my life, once I would open up and be transparent with my friends, with my wife about the situation and let accountability into my life, that's when I had breakthrough.
Yep. That's so true. So Matt, if you ever want to invite me back on and we want to hit the other topics, I'm happy to be your guest again. But I'm glad we went here, and absolutely. I know this is what really actually will make somebody have a better life, that will allow them to truly, because now my family is amazing. We get along great. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I sat down and watched The Bachelor last night, I also got my inner thigh rubbed. You know what I mean? It was fucking But with that being said, we have an amazing relationship because I get to show up in a very authentic way, and I'm about serving her and my family and others. So, but if people do, if we do want to talk about superhero statistics and how to, some of that other stuff, I'm happy to jump back on if you'll have.
Absolutely. We can definitely do that. Let's get into a rapid fire round. Is that okay with you?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. What are you passionate about as an entrepreneur that our heroes could benefit from out there?
This topic, I'm really passionate about this topic.
Yeah.
So it's the topic of just being a better dad, being a better husband, being a better friend, and not always worried about the dollars and cents so much. That's what I'm really, and I actually do have something coming out here in the next 60 days about this thing, because it was the biggest life-changing event that ever happened in my life, and I don't want to go to the grave without saying something about it.
Cool. Well, we'll be able to do a launch on the show for that too.
Nice.
What creates the most peace in your life?
Discipline.
I love it. What helps you enter flow state or the zone?
Routine.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about I'm a creative crazy man. Like routine and discipline is tough for me, but it's what allows me to be the most creative, crazy person I really want to be.
Yep. Because you like to have fun. I like to have fun too. So those things are very important to me, because I have to have a balance. Because if I don't, I'm an artist, and I know you are too. You rock the guitar and you sing and all that. And the artist in you, and I know for me, like pulls me in that way of just kind of like loosey-goosey, don't want to schedule, just want like everything to just happen. And obviously you can't run your life that way, so.
I got to get up and I got to do my 15 minutes of my rebounder, because I know it does something for my lymphatic system, which makes me a brighter human being, which makes me show up on a call like this way better, as opposed to rolling out and just having a Snickers bar. Yep.
Awesome, man. What do you like to do in your free time?
Believe it or not, I really enjoy working out. And I've been doing a lot of stand-up comedy lately as a comedian, and I like going to watch comedians.
Nice, man. I love watching comedians.
My favorite.
I think they're the best communicators, and they can bring up a topic that's so hard and challenging and make the whole audience agree with the other side of it, even if you don't agree with it.
And it is the hardest craft.
It is.
Created. An actor, a stand-up comedian can become an actor. An actor cannot do stand-up comedy.
You're right. Man, I'd love to hear you. Do you have any of your videos online or?
Hell no. I've only done 11 shows. I still suck, man.
Keep them locked away. I've
got a couple of comedy buddies I share them with. I don't know if you guys know Garrett Gunderson or not, but
he's a comedy guy?
He's done 11 shows. He and I are comedy buddies. We both have been doing this train together, and he's already amazing. I suck. Really?
That's awesome.
I'm okay, but he's really good. Yeah.
What books do you recommend right now?
Right now, I'll tell you the book that has got me really fired up. I love the book The Charge by Brendan Burchard.
Mm-hmm.
The Charge. I love Slight Edge by Jeff somebody or other. I'm trying to think. And I love the book The One Thing by the other guy. Those three. It's right there. What's his name? Philip Keller, is it?
Yes, Keller. That's right. The Realty. Keller Realty, yep.
Yeah. So that and The Slight Edge
Yep. Good stuff.
Right? Jeff something. Bridges? No, I don't know.
If you could pick one action step our listeners would take from this call, what would it be?
To take their health as serious and more serious than anything else in their entire life. Eating right and getting sweaty.
Yep.
It's the one thing that if I dial that in, everything else works. If that's the one thing, if I don't dial that in, other things start to not work.
Yep. Yep. So true, man. So true.
And
at the end of the day, if you lose your health, you lose everything, right?
I know. I just hate that it sounds so cliche, but there's a reason why it's cliche.
Truth.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's just, it's truth, right? At the end of the day, it's cool. So, brother, you rocked it. This was amazing. Really. I mean, it went in a way that I think neither one of us knew it was going to go. Completely organic, which I love it. If people want to find out more about you and who you are and what you're doing, I know you lead these Amplify events. Where can they go to learn more about that?
So it all depends on which aspect of me they want to hear from. So if they just go to keithyackey.com, there's two things that you can find there. A lot of my videos, about who I am, that type of stuff. And then there'll be two funnels off of that. If you want to find out more about the entrepreneurial journey, they can go down that. If they want to find out about how to discover their calling, then they can go down that. Those are the two funnels you can kind of go from there to kind of go deeper with me. But if you just want to know, like, what the hell is this guy up to? Who is he? Just look me up on Facebook or Instagram, Keith Yackey.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah, that's where I spend a lot of my time every single day.
Awesome. So to everybody out there, I really hope that you took this show to heart. I know I did. I hope that you maybe took some notes. If Keith mentioned anything that you're thinking, oh man, I didn't get that, it's going to be in the show notes, not to worry. Just know that you have everything within you that it takes. I mean, I know I say this a lot, but we have to remind ourselves that you were brilliantly and wonderfully made, and that you have all the potential inside you right now to change whatever it is in your life that you need to change, but do it now. Don't wait, right? Like Keith and I have been talking about. Whatever, if it's a relationship, if it's a business deal, if it's a friendship, whatever it is, go change it now, because life is short and life is long. So but there is a time frame here, and you don't want to wait and have regrets. Thank you for being on. Love all of you. Continue to be superhuman. We'll see you next time.